Hey guys, Greg Sewers, Houston Heat member and owner of Map Training, back with all of your questions. Thank you so much for sending them in and posting them all over Facebook. I really appreciate it. I wish I had more time for you guys to submit them, but I'm kind of on a time crunch with my flight first thing in the morning. So just to organize them a little bit, I did all the nutrition questions first, then the fitness, then the paintball questions. And if for any reason I missed yours, please feel free to send me a message, shoot me an email, whatever it is, and I will get back to you with the best answer that I have, whether you like it or not. So, the first question, someone came to me and they said, I train a lot of cardio, I lift, but how do you cut belly fat? I've stopped eating sugar, soda, beer, fast food. Well, you're on the right track. Really, cutting belly fat or changing your weight at all comes down to nutrition. So, typically you have a solid mix. You have cardio and you have your weightlifting. Resistance training is going to help build your lean body mass, build your muscle, which is going to increase your metabolism. And cardio is going to burn calories. So it's great as long as you feed yourself the correct way. Now, the way to do that is actually, my best explanation would be go to my website, trainwithmap.com, and in the blog section, I actually have nutrition calculators available. And that's going to tell you how many calories to consume in a normal day. And then I usually start, if someone wants to lose weight, I split their diet into 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat. And start there. That's going to help you burn fat. Now, if you want to look at it from a workout perspective, try doing explosive movements. You can try interval training rather than just running 20 or 30 minutes in a row. You can do interval training, which is going to be like walk for a minute, sprint for 30 seconds. And that's going to be more helpful in producing lean body mass with the calorie burn of cardio. So hopefully that helps. Next, so when preparing for an event that you know is going to be tiring and hot, do you do extra cardio the week or two before? If so, what intensity? And how do you prepare and stay hydrated? Great question. So since most of our events are either downpouring rain or extremely hot, that totally makes sense. The cardio, again, depends on your diet. That's why this question is in the nutrition section. If you're going to increase your cardio before the event, that is okay, but you need to be consuming very high percentage of carbs in your diet. Now, the reason that is increasing your cardio before the event is going to drain your glycogen stores, and that is just the stored energy in your body. Carbohydrates fill those stores. So if you drain the glycogen stores and go straight into the event, you're going to exhaust very, very quickly on a standard diet. Now, if you want to increase your cardio, it's actually a carb loading technique to do this. You can increase your intensity, and you want to do this about a week before the event. And then in the last 3 days, you want to switch your diet to at least 70% complex carbohydrates. And that's the slow assimilating, the slow digesting carbohydrates. Think your wheat products, your brown rices, things like that. And what that's going to do is actually going to maximize your glycogen stores, which is going to help you store water. Glycogen stores in the body at 3-to-1 with water. So you can completely stay or have a better chance of staying hydrated at the event by doing that. Now, if you don't want to change your diet, you're not going to pay attention to it, and you don't feel comfortable consuming that many carbs, totally okay. Just skip the carb loading technique and decrease or lower the intensity of your workouts as you go through the week. The closer you get to the event, the less work you should be doing to make sure that you have the most energy available, the most water available, so that you can have the best performance while you're there. Now, other than that, to stay hydrated, it's really just consuming water throughout the day. You cannot consume water in large quantities at certain times of day and stay hydrated because your body can only take in so much at a time before you just excrete it, before you just piss it out. So it's just staying on top of it. Carry a water bottle with you. And what I try to do is I try to down at least 3 water bottles before I start each match. And that's just at the paintball event. It's the most that I can handle before I feel like I'm lugging around a gallon of water in my stomach before I play. So hopefully that helps. The next one I got, have I ever tried the hydration tabs for water? I have. I didn't notice a significant difference, but there is benefits to consuming some kind of an electrolyte beverage if you're going to have a long day, which paintball is a very long day. We're normally at the field all day long. So what I actually do is I'll blend my water and my Gatorade. So I'll go 75-25 water to Gatorade, and that's just preference because actually overloading electrolytes and sugar during the day can affect your energy levels and how your body processes the food and how you make energy. So I like to keep mine low. If you feel like you're having trouble, or if you're not a fitness goer on the average day, increasing that Gatorade amount is going to be better, but make sure it's always blended with at least 50% water to make sure that it's going to digest well and still supply energy for you. Then it's going to help with hydration. What is the most important thing to remember in eating a proper diet? That is a hard one. I think my most general and best answer would be too much of anything is a bad thing, which means cutting too many carbs out can be a bad thing. Eating too much protein can be a bad thing. Cutting too many calories out is a bad thing. Eating too many calories is a bad thing. So too much of anything or too extreme of anything is going to be bad. I always make a very short list for people who are just looking to eat healthy. I say, first of all, eat within an hour of waking up. And what that's going to do is just kickstart the metabolism for the day. It's going to make sure that you're off to the right start and your metabolism's running and at least trying to maintain that lean muscle throughout the day. Secondly, always eat within 30 minutes of your workout. So as soon as you finish your workout, to that 30, 45-minute mark is very, very crucial as to how your body functions from the workout. Not eating in that time frame, and this is a little bit debated, but for the average person, not eating in that time frame will actually slow down your metabolism and make your body want to store more calories the next time you eat, completely halting any effects from your workout. So eating in that time frame is really going to help, and there's tons more to that. And then finally, eat enough calories per day, especially with people who are trying to lose weight. I see them cut far, far too many calories out of their diet, and people who don't look at what they eat end up eating 2 meals a day, and maybe they don't eat the best foods, but they still underconsume calories. Underconsuming calories can have the same effect as overconsuming calories, where you put on weight or you have trouble taking off weight. So don't go to extremes would be the best advice that I have for a proper diet. Moving into the fitness realm, are there any specific exercises to help improve breakout speed? For the non-paintball players, breakout speed is taking off from the box when the game starts and making it to that first position that you're supposed to be in. Kind of like what I was talking about before, explosive movements are always going to be the best. Now, in an explosive movement, for instance, the squat, what you want to do is go slow through the eccentric movement and explode through the concentric movement. So in a squat, that means lower slowly, as slow as you can, even sitting on a bench if need be, and then exploding back to a standing position. And what you're doing there is you're training your fast twitch muscle fibers, which are what responsible for those super fast bursts, like taking off from the box to your first bunker. So think jumping, plyometrics, the slow eccentric, explosive concentric, any movement like that, lunges, squats, box jumps, are all going to help. The other thing that you can do is agility. I found that my speed really increased when I started using the ladder. And it's just about your footwork and basically building the ability to explode off the ground and respond to that movement. So all of those have really helped me. So hopefully it helps. Now this next person said, I've read that strong hip flexors are crucial for speed. Aside from sprinting, what are some ways to strengthen them? Now your hip flexors, it's not the strength that's going to affect your speed. It's the flexibility. Now, people who sit a lot, people who are at the computer, flying on planes, all the things that I do, tend to have tight hip flexors, and that's going to limit the range of motion in your leg. And speed comes from that range of motion. The better that you're able to drive your knee up towards your chest and explode back towards the ground, almost in a backward spinning motion, the more powerful your legs are going to be, the more power you get off the ground, the faster your sprint is going to become. So really the best thing and the best way to treat your hip flexors is to roll them. Grab a lacrosse ball, tennis ball, even a foam roller, and dig into your hips. You'll find, and you can always look it up, but you can find the TFL, which is one of the hip flexors that runs right along the inside of the groin that tends to get very, very tight. You can roll your psoas, or not roll, but you can stand on your psoas. And the way to do that is you extend your arm, you extend that same leg, and then about 2 inches or an inch or so to the side of your belly button on that same extended side, you're going to lay on a ball. And laying on that ball is going to hit the thick or the biggest hip flexor that you have, called the psoas, which if you sit a lot or have a tendency, tends to reshape itself. So anyone who's at an office desk, it tends to form a C shape, which limits the rotation and the range of motion of your leg. So rolling those out, stretching all the time is really going to help the hip flexors, and it's going to increase your speed. Next, post-game stretching. Someone just mentioned that a lot of people forget the cool down. And yes, this does affect your game. You know, paintball tournaments are, or many tournaments for that reason, are multiple days in a row. So what you do the first day and that night to recover is going to affect the next day's performance. So the cool down after an event, yes, stretching counts. It's going to help release the lactic acid, the byproducts of making energy that make you sore later on. But really the best recovery is going to be foam rolling, which like I mentioned for the hip flexors, anything of that nature where you're applying pressure, compression pants to your legs, your hips, your butt is really going to help with the soreness and going to help you perform better the next day. The other part is eating well that night. You want to avoid your fats. You want to go high protein, high complex carbohydrates. Remember, not the sugary ones. And that's going to help you perform better the next day. So now the paintball questions. How do you know when to dive into a bunker low or how high you should be? So you'll see a lot of different people slide in a lot of different ways. They'll be on their knees. They'll be halfway down. They'll be chest first. It's kind of the worst answer, but it's totally situational. It's what bunker you're going to, how difficult you think it is, and on your way there, how much pressure are you feeling or seeing? So typically, when you're going into a lower bunker, or if you're making a bump on the field that you can't see the guy who may be threatening you the most, like someone on a crossfield shot, you always want to go chest first as low as you can. And that's just going to give you the best chance of survival so that you don't get caught making mistakes. The only time you want to slide higher is if you're going to shoot all the way to the ground into your bunker when you're running and shooting, or if you truly know that you don't have enough pressure on you that you don't have to go chest first. But when you're first learning, rule of thumb, get as low as you can every time until you're comfortable doing otherwise. We just came back from a Las Vegas tournament, and this one is, what's the secret to blasting everyone and winning on the Vegas layout? Good question. We didn't have a great tournament, but really it's having a player who's willing to go up the center and do it well. So going to that big W in the center is huge. I really felt like the players that were in the teams that did best didn't send a guy off the break every single time. They gave him options. They let him stop at the center can. They let him go up there. They didn't make him look one way. They let him freelance, look both ways, see which way he could find kills, go over the top. Having an active center player was a huge deal. I think the other big winning factor for the teams that did really well was having a Dorito guy that was going down the field almost blindly. You know, it was very hard to get out on that side. So if you have someone who's willing to really gunfight and is good at it and comfortable making those low, almost blind movements on the Dorito side, I think you guys are going to have a lot of luck. So good luck on the event. Let's see. How many bruises at any given time from paintballs? You know, luckily not that many. It used to be when I wasn't pro because kids tend to overshoot you more in the division. But I don't know. I think I've counted like almost 30 on me before, but it's been a while since like a good beating. You know, they slowed the guns down now to 10.5 instead of 15 balls a second. So it's a little bit harder to get shot to pieces. Thank goodness. And finally, how's the new Lux? So I haven't shot the new Lux yet. I'm very excited to get it this week. But I can say I was a part of some of the testing that was done for it. So I had some of the parts that are associated with the new one. And I don't know what I'm allowed to say on that. But I will say that I did not have to take my Lux apart or lube it in 3 tournaments and almost 5 months of paintball, of playing every single weekend. So the maintenance is far lower than you could ever imagine on a spool valve gun. So I cannot wait to try the new Lux Ice. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for submitting the questions. I hope to do this again soon. And in between now and then, if you have any other questions, feel free to shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.